In tonight's edition of Education Matters, we take a look at an ever-growing racial demographic in the Lone Star State, Latinos. They represent more than half of the student population in our public schools. Districts are finding it harder and harder to find bilingual and English second language teachers, also known as ESL teachers. We went to Port Arthur to see how one school is handling the challenge.
I want to help the Hispanic community to communicate, to break those gaps on communication.
Ricardo Solis's classroom is just like any other.
Everybody say it.
It's a place for learning. Sometimes it just happens to be in Spanish.
They may come knowing some English or knowing none.
Solis is a bilingual teacher at Robert E. Lee Elementary in Port Arthur, where minorities are a large majority. Out of the 800+ kids at Lee, more than half are Latino. And with that population constantly growing, demand is outweighing supply.
It's very difficult to find and recruit, teachers to come to the area who will work with that population.
Ruben Sampson Jr. is the principal at Lee and says although they have about 10 to 12 bilingual teachers, they've had positions open for as long as a year because of the lengthy recruiting process.
They may go to Puerto Rico or other places in Mexico and other places to recruit teachers, and after teachers are selected, they have to go through the actual visa approval process, to get approved to be able to work in the country. And that can take anywhere from 2 to 4 months, depending on how paperwork is completed and if it's approved or not.
Solis is one of those people.
I'm still learning.
He was originally living in Mexico as an accountant and was recruited for Port Arthur ISD in 2009. Then there are homegrown bilingual and ESL teachers like Michelle Tran.
They see someone like them.
Tran teaches another large minority group, Vietnamese students. Behind Spanish, Vietnamese is the second most prominent language, with about 16,000 kids speaking it across the state. And her pre-K students present a different challenge.
This is their first time ever stepping away from the home. And it's just, that's the first step. Any child, you want them to feel like they're in a safe environment for them to really open up and feel comfortable, and then you can start teaching them.
Between 2012 and 2016, there's been a 20% increase in English language learners, and there's no sign that trend will end. Although teaching children English is difficult, Solis says the reward far outweighs the challenge.
You can see the transition at the beginning of the year. They speak mostly in Spanish. They are ashamed to use the English, and suddenly they began speaking to you in English, asking questions and all that, and it feels really good to help.
The most current data from the Texas Education Agency reports more than 930,000 students were learning in bilingual or ESL classrooms. Every first Wednesday of the month, we'll be exploring different topics in education. If you have any story ideas, feel free to email us at education@kfdm.com.